Hello and welcome back to the Creative Cousins podcast, a podcast
Hello.
about art and photography. Hey Beth.
Hey.
So today we have a really fun episode planned for you guys. Our main topic is going to be about how travel inspires your art. That will come right after recent creations, before today's hot take, and before knowledge share, steal my settings, recent inspiration, and of course, our favorite childhood memories.
Yeah, we're really excited because we both kind of went on like vacation, sort of. So we did, well, at least like kind of, right? We did like some traveling. So, travel always inspires us. So it's exciting.
So recently, I took this photo. Well, I actually took this photo not recently, but recently I went back and decided if I could. I was trying to rework it a little bit. My editing style has changed quite a bit since when I actually took this picture. So I went back in and I brightened it up a lot and tried to work with it. It was a little bit underexposed to begin with. Um,
Mm.
So it was a little bit of a challenge trying to get it to look how I want it to now, like how I would currently want it to look. But I actually am really happy with how it came out. And I don't have the settings on this because it was taken a long time ago.
Mm.
But it was right around blue hour on the beach at Singing Beach. And as I said, the original photo that I took, the raw file was pretty underexposed, and my original edit was pretty had a lot of color noise. So I kind of
Mm.
worked with it and I played around a lot and I kind of got it to how I would edit it now. The original image, the original edit, I should say, was very I feel like it did well though. I feel like people liked the original edit even though it isn't what I would do now. I just kind
Mm.
of wanted to see if I could make it look different.
Mm. Yeah, I remember that whole photo shoot. I thought that was like a really cool photo shoot. Like,
It
I
was such
thought it was awesome.
it was such a crazy like it was an accident. Like that whole photo shoot was a big
Mm.
accident. We were supposed to do it in an apple orchard and didn't know that the apple orchard like closed like before sunset. So
That's
we were standing
funny.
around like talking, waiting for like the right light in the apple orchard, and then a guy came around on a golf cart and like ushered us out and like gave us a ride out. So we had to like cut that short. So like last
Wow.
minute we're like looking for another location and then we went to a different beach, which they ended up being really strict and ended up kicking us off the beach for not having a permit. So we finally had to
Oh,
like rush to this like
right.
we like rushed to this third beach, which we knew would be fine to shoot there without a permit. And we had like kind of like the light was disappearing on us quickly and
Mm.
I was still kind of new, so I was trying to do my best there, but they were pretty underexposed from what my standards are now.
Yeah, but I
Um,
still like them like a lot. Like I remember, I can't really remember what the previous edit looked like. So, I mean, this one's still like for me, I can't really remember it. So I feel like I look at this and I'm like, I still think it looks like the photo before, but I just can't really remember. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So I'm like, it
It's
still
not
looks
too
good.
different. It's not too different, but it looks less fantasy right now and more film. Um,
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
so that's my most recent creation. I still have a lot of other photos I'm currently working on editing, but I think we're gonna lead right into talking about our vacations and how travel has inspired our art.
I am
Beth, if you
excited.
want to talk about yours.
Sure. I just got back from like a week and a couple days of travel to the East Coast because obviously I'm not on the East Coast anymore, or not obviously. I don't know how obvious that is. Um, can you tell? It's so obvious. It's it's obviously the West Coast. Duh. Um, but originally from Connecticut, as is Allie, and so most of our family still live there. I visited both Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then Pittsburgh area as well. And it's always fun whenever I go on a trip. I always take like a ton of photos, And what do I do with those photos, Allie? A lot of the times I end up doing what? Can you guess?
Sending them to me,
Well,
painting them.
giving them all to me, please.
Both.
But a lot of times, I like to paint them. And Allie, you obviously know that I've done that a lot. So, like, I'll go to a lot of beaches and then I go paint them. It's like my favorite thing. I love the beach. Okay. During the trip, I went not just the beach, though, another body of water, went to a river, and then perhaps I will paint the river at some point. That because we went boating on the river with my boyfriend's family, Sean, and then it was a lot of fun. So, well, yeah, I just love like when you go to these places, you see things that you don't normally get to see, and I think the best thing when you're like drawing is like to paint from. I think it's best to like use your own references. Anyway,
It's nice that it sounds like you'll get to draw or paint some things that you normally wouldn't paint. So it's obviously going to help. It's going to help with developing your skills.
obviously, it's fun to use like any picture that you can like find, right? If you really want to paint Hawaii, you can find some reference photos for that. But I find it more fun to use my own reference photos. But also because like it kind of adds it kind of adds to it in the way that like you feel more inspired, in my opinion, and you also feel like reminded of those. It's just kind of feel more nostalgic. It reminds you of that time, and usually it's a good memory, hopefully.
Yeah. You're able
So,
to really put yourself in that place.
yeah, yeah. So, anyway, how was your most recent trip? I know you went to Maine, right?
Yeah, we only went for 2 days and one night. So we went to Portland. I didn't take any photos while we were there because, well, I took photos on my iPhone, but I didn't take any photos with my camera. We did a lot of walking and we had a lot of things that we were doing like one after the other. I still feel inspired though by it because we did go to an art museum
Oh,
and I got to
yay!
see like some of Portland's art, and Portland's art is definitely different. Um, like there was a lot of paintings of like fish and different like wildlife creatures like from local artists.
Mm,
Um, there
I
was
love
a
that.
huge painting of a moose at like the very top floor of the museum.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, so there was a lot of like really cool like niche things, and then got to see this. They had like a special exhibit of like baskets. So
Oh,
um, an artist, what was his name? I can't remember his name, but he makes baskets, and then on the top of the baskets, like there's like little animals.
oh,
Like there was like a wolf and a bear, and like they were just cute, and it was nice to just be able to like appreciate art without having any like plans to create. I feel like sometimes you just need to like step back and not create and just maybe admire and maybe just take things in.
yeah.
Um, I feel like that is really helpful also. Like, so even if you're traveling and you don't feel like creating, like that's okay. Traveling can still inspire you down the line.
So
Um,
true. I
but if you just need to be in the moment and absorb it, that's all right.
I was gonna ask you if you went to like any art galleries, art museums, because I love going to a new place and then going to their art galleries because they're always like at least like the local artists, like a local gallery, they always have like the art based on the area. Like
Yes,
when you
yeah,
go
it
to
was
like
like that.
yeah, exactly. When you go to like a beach town, you're gonna see like we went to Capitola in California. We just saw a bunch of paintings of those colorful mountains, colorful buildings, like
Yes, yeah.
so many. every artist in those galleries did those colorful
And
buildings.
they each had their own take, which is awesome to see all
Yeah,
the different
it's
ways
so
you
much
could,
fun.
all the different perspectives. It's like when you're in a class, like if anyone's ever done those muse paint bar classes
Oh,
or like just an art class in
I've
general,
done that too.
where you can see how everyone's comes out, like you're all painting the same thing, but you get to see how everyone's looks. It's like that. And then I just really like seeing like what are the hallmark things. Like what is the experience of Portland? Like
Yeah,
there was a lot
exactly.
of stuff like through the ages too of like being like paintings of like trading that was happening like in the port and like stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. A lot of history there. I'm not a huge history buff, but it was just nice to look at and kind of get a better understanding of what a day in Portland might have looked like forever ago. There was a lot of paintings of oceans, but specifically like large trading ships like on the ocean. Um,
Cool.
yeah, stuff like that.
I would probably love it because I love port towns. I love any kind of like town with like sailing history or like that have like shipping history. Like I love,
Yeah, you would
yeah.
really like it. And there's a lot of good seafood.
Mm,
We went to a restaurant called Scales, and the food itself was obviously picturesque, but really, really good. Um,
that's
like the
awesome.
Maine lobster, really good. Even like the grilled octopus appetizer was amazing. And the restaurant was like right on the water. It's like can't get better than that.
Oh, I love that. It was just like I just like love places like Newport. Like I stayed in Newport again for another 2 nights in Rhode Island, and it was so much fun because you go on like a sunset cruise, and like every time I'm on a sunset cruise, I must take a bazillion pictures of the sunset.
Of
You,
course.
well, you were on a sunset cruise
I was
with
on a
me
sunset cruise with
before.
you, and I brought my camera, and I just would not stop taking pictures. I was the most obnoxious
Oh
picture
no,
taker
you have
there.
not seen me on a sunset cruise with well, you have, but I was I was doing that a lot, even though I've done that same sunset cruise multiple times. Every sunset's a little different, and so
That is true.
you gotta you gotta take pictures. And I have actually taken a picture of a sunset like cruise like 6 years ago. The first time I went on one in Newport, and then I did paint it. So it did actually happen. If I can find that picture, I'll put it up. But it was like one of my first, like, not my first paintings, but it was like one of, it's like an older painting. It was when I still did like oil painting. Now I do digital painting,
Mm,
but it's like an oil painting. It's in my house right now.
nice.
So I will still keep doing it even after already making a painting based off the same subject. It won't stop me. This was,
You can never stop. You
the
got to
work
make
is
a whole
never done. So
series.
yeah, exactly. These are
You can
all the
redo it.
paintings.
You can redo it every couple of years and just see how it looks different. One of the things that's great about being an artist is, you can evolve. You can grow.
You, we learned
Um,
that from last episode. Um,
right. So I love travel and I haven't gotten to do a lot of it the past couple of years. I haven't gone to go very far anyways, but taking photographs and traveling is probably got to be like top 3 favorite things for me to do. When it comes to travel, one of my favorite places was Costa Rica.
oh,
Everyone was just so carefree there. I was in Santa Teresa on the Nicoya Peninsula for most of the time. People were very welcoming and very nice. It's very touristy, obviously, but there's a lot of young people. I got to see a lot of things I didn't normally see. Um, I got to take like surfing lessons, a lot of different perspectives. I met with people in the area and just heard about like what their lives are like and just kind of gets you to see things in a different light. And if you're brave, it's a great opportunity for you to push yourself out of your comfort zone. For example, when I was there on the beach, there was a couple at sunset doing like handstands.
Oh,
And you can kind of tell yourself, like, you're never going to see these people again. So why not go and ask them if it's okay to take a picture?
oh, I didn't know that was that photo. That was that. I saw those photos of those handstands or whatever. I didn't know that they were like strangers. I thought that you knew them. So
They were strangers. Yeah, I
that's
just like
funny.
walked up to them and I was like, "Do you guys mind if I take a picture?" And they were like a little apprehensive at first, but then they were like, "Yeah, sure, like why not? But can you like send it to me in case I want to post it?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." And like I ended up like getting their Instagram, and it was just a silhouette photo. It wasn't anything crazy. I didn't have like flash or anything. So it
Mm,
was just like a silhouette picture with like the sunset in the background. It wasn't like what I would consider like a technically good photo, but it was the act of getting up the courage to go ask a stranger if you can take a picture of them.
yeah, exactly.
Um, it's something I believe strongly in actually, and I've something I've done even locally, like even just in your hometown. There was one time in Lowell where I just went downtown and I asked strangers if
Oh
I could take their
yeah,
picture.
I remember
And
that.
usually people are like pretty excited about it. Like they feel like flattered that you asked. Like occasionally there'll be like a person who is like grumpy, but for the most part everyone's gonna just be like, yeah, sure, and smile. Um,
That's cute.
so I recommend doing that. And yeah, that's kind of how the week went. I didn't spend the whole week taking pictures, but I did have my camera with me, so I would go out on little walks. Um, there was like little like markets, I guess, where people would set up tables and sell jewelry and stuff.
Mm,
And I took a picture of someone's dream catchers that they made, hanging in the little marketplace with the sunset in the background. It was like right on the beach. That's still like one of my favorite pictures I've taken in Costa Rica. It was kind of also like a silhouette picture of
mm,
just like the dream catchers. Um, I
that's
took
cool.
pictures of like the coast, like the coastline when I went and I rented like a quad or a four-wheeler, and I just like took it down this path as far as I could. And there was just like miles of like beach that was like untouched, like not regulated, no signs, no nothing, just like beach in the wilderness, and like there'd be nobody. And I just like took pictures of like logs on the beach or like just random things. Um, and I was just experimenting like different apertures, like experimenting with like just taking pictures of like random scenery, landscapes, like what it would look like, different settings.
Yeah.
Um, so that's something that can be really helpful for practice if you're someone that struggles just like practicing on like everyday objects. Um, if you make it really interesting and go travel somewhere, it's a great opportunity to practice. And sometimes you might surprise yourself. You might actually nail it and get like an incredible shot. My favorite picture I ever took while traveling, Beth will know what I'm talking about. It's a picture I took in Montmartre in Paris, um,
Oh yeah.
where there's like this cobblestone street and there's buildings
Mm,
lined on the side, and then at the very end center of the picture is a restaurant, but then behind the restaurant in the background is a windmill.
right.
So like the windmill is like right like in the sunset sky area.
Mm,
And I had no idea that picture was gonna look that good when I took
yeah, it's
it.
a really cool
I had
picture.
I had no clue. I just was like, take a picture of this really quick, and I thought it was gonna be average, like um, because like there was people walking on the street, and it was just like a random picture I took. Like not random. I set it up to be like composed well, but like I just was like, oh, like I just want to take a picture of this because it's so pretty. And I did not expect that once I edited it, it was gonna look like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, damn, like I could sell this for money. Like this is good. Um,
And that's the
but
most
that was
inspiring
like,
thing of all.
yeah, is when you accidentally make something that's really worth something. I never actually did anything with that picture. I probably could
Yeah.
now. Um, make it into a print or something. But I think it's kind of hard also because you don't really know what is worth taking a picture of, especially
Yeah.
when you're just starting,
Hmm.
which kind of leads into today's hot take a little bit. Because basically, like I said, I didn't know that picture was going to be like one of the best pictures I've ever taken. And I took a lot of other pictures on that trip that would probably never see the light of day. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that they would be cool, but I didn't really know. So I just took a bunch of pictures of something and I think I kind of knew that they might not be super interesting, but I was like, let me just try anyway.
Yeah.
And it ends up being kind of a waste of your time. And, if you're going to be shooting with film, you don't really want to be wasting your film. But obviously nowadays, almost no one does that. So the temptation is there to just do what is called spray and pray and just take pictures of everything and then go through later and just throw out the ones you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it could be like a really good way to learn when you're just starting. However, today I did something very exciting and I bought a film camera.
It's awesome. Now it's something that you can work on for a while to learn how to use.
Yeah. One of the things I'm hoping is going to come out of this is that I will hopefully train myself to be a bit more discerning on what is worth taking pictures of. Um,
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I
I,
definitely do that too.
yeah, I mean, it's so hard. The temptation's there. You have unlimited storage, you have,
Mm-hmm.
all these things at your fingertips. It's easy to take the photo because you know what it looks like in a mirrorless camera. Um, this I'm hoping is going to make me better because I think it's going to really test my knowledge of settings and everything I've learned so far to see if I'm really as good of a photographer as I think I am. Um, and yeah, like I'm not going to waste film. Film's expensive. Like I'm only going to take the picture if it's worth the exposure. Did a little walk today, was testing it out a little. Um, had a couple moments where I was getting ready to take a pic and I was like, hang on, what am I going to do with this picture?
Hang on a
And then
moment.
I stopped myself. I saw myself. I was like, where is this picture going to go? What am I going to do with it? I was literally zooming in on a bunch of pigeons on the ground, just doing their thing.
I would do the same thing.
And I was going to take the picture. And then at the last second, I was like, wait a sec. Am I really going to waste film on this? Like, what am I going to do with this picture of pigeons? I'm not going to post it on my social media. It's not probably going to go in my portfolio unless there's something special about it, the lighting or something special the pigeons are doing. So yeah, I didn't take the picture.
The poor
If there was
pigeons.
something very interesting about it, I would have taken it. There's just a bunch of pigeons like on my walk near like the train tracks, and I was like, I'm gonna do anything with this image. So I'm hoping that it makes me a little more mindful. I'm not saying that I always sprayed and prayed because I didn't really, but I just kind of want to be a little bit more discerning.
Mm. I think that's fair. I definitely did that whenever I take pictures. When I take pictures, I just take a bunch at once, and hope one of them sticks. But I also think it's fun to do that. So I don't think I'm gonna stop doing that, um, personally. So like I think it's fun, and I do it for like the fun of it when I take photos anyway. So like I don't mind going through images and like seeing
Right.
because it can be kind of fun too to be like, okay, let's see which one worked out, and then but maybe sometimes none of them, and that's
Yeah.
fair. That's just
Well,
kind of
that's why I say I think it can be helpful if you're learning because if you try a bunch of different settings for the same images, when you're going through them, you can then see which one was the best set of settings. and or what technique was the best or what you did that time that really worked or what the model or the subject was doing that was worth capturing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think there's a time and a place for both. And there's been a debate like recently, like on threads and stuff. I've seen people debating like what's better, spray and pray or setting up your shot and shooting with intention. And there's definitely like a lot of controversy around it, which is why I think it's probably one of those things that they both have their uses. It just depends on the time, the place, the situation, and more importantly, the gear. Because you're obviously not going to do that with film. Um, and it's not even possible to do spray and pray with like some of the older DSLRs. Um, like with mirrorless cameras, you can shoot in like continuous high and take literally 100 pictures of the same like, and you have just like a slight tilt of like someone's head or something like, and you just have like 100 different pictures of like the same kind of pose. And I think sometimes that is helpful. Like if the person is going to be using them for like their modeling portfolio, they obviously want the best angle possible. They want like the best, they want what looks the best. So if they have hundreds to choose from where they were kind of making small movements, it
Yeah.
kind of helps. So I think they both have their uses, and I'm just going to try and do this a little bit more where I'm a little bit more shooting with intention just to see how it works out because I feel like it's not something I mean, I've kind of done it more recently, but I want to really try my hand at it. Um,
Well, and it's something new that you can like work on. And there is something fun about like when you get your photos developed and you see what it looks like. And it's a little bit of like of the draw. Um, you know, some are not going to be good, but but
right.
that's the fun of it, I think. You know.
It takes away the instant gratification, and in a way, it's really exciting because I now cannot wait to go drop off my rolls of film. Like, it's going to be such a fun day when I get that back.
Yeah.
Um, Getting to like see them all at once, it's just going to be really fun. Um,
Yeah,
and I think I'm going to do a lot more of like waiting for the right moment too.
I do have memories of when I took my college photography class and my community college, like a long time ago. And it was a little bit stressful. It was a little stressful because they let me borrow basically a film camera. I never had my own. And they were like, okay, go off and take your photos. And who was one of my first muses? Give a guess.
Rochelle.
Rochelle. And there was one. I don't know. It was kind of a bummer though because like I don't have any of those photos from when I used film. I don't have any of them. I don't know where
Damn.
any of them are. It sucks because I did have one that I actually really did like of Rochelle because like they're all like physical copies of it, right? So like
Right.
there I can like visualize it and like maybe I can someday maybe it's somewhere in my parents' house because at that time I was like living with my
Yeah,
parents,
maybe.
so maybe it's in my old bedroom, I don't know. But I just remember it and it was like in black and white and it was like um Rochelle like hanging out. It was like a really cool photo. I thought it was still kind of I still think it's kind of cool. But yeah, there's something about when you're like I know you're not developing it, but when you're developing it, you can like see when you put it in like the film when you're in the dark room. Sorry, film. And you put it in like the bath, the chemical bath or whatever it's called. I don't remember all the names to be honest. Okay, I do not remember all of the components of film. Okay, photography. But when you put it in the thing and then you're like moving it around to get the solution on it to get it to start to pop up, you can like see right away if you like majorly fucked up or it's like because sometimes it'll just be completely white and you're like Yikes. And then sometimes you have to actually get out of the dark room to see what it is. But like it was a stressful time, my guy. It was stressful. Just like being in there and seeing like, all right, that's bad. And then
That's so funny. And I know that part, like, I won't have that part of like actually developing it myself. But I'm so excited to see the results and stay tuned because I'll probably show them on the next episode of the podcast.
well, maybe if you have them done before this episode comes out, you can add them in
Oh, that would be great.
if
That
that's
would be great.
possible, depending on when you get them back. Um,
Today, my muses were my cats mostly. Um, because I just impulsively did this, okay? I went and bought a film camera today. There was no plan to buy a film camera today. I didn't have a photo shoot planned out where I could test it out after, and nobody's available at the last minute. So, yes, there will be a lot of pictures of my cats in this roll of film. Um,
you never know what you're inspired
and
by.
some pictures
Okay.
and some pictures of the railroad, the tracks, the train tracks, I mean. But no pictures of pigeons. No pigeons.
Lost
Um,
opportunity.
I'm excited. I also bought a flash for it. It was crazy. The flash was only $10. It literally feels like a toy in my hands. Like, but there's this noise. Okay, listen to this noise. I don't know if it's gonna show, or I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear it. I hope so. But this noise is the most satisfying noise. So this is me turning on the flash. So I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like an electronic like whizzing sound.
Oh, I don't think I heard it, but maybe if you record it like separately
Yeah,
and when it's really quiet, you can send me the
it's
audio.
it's really satisfying. It does sound so ancient. Um, it sounds very vintage. So I guess I'll share. Unless you want to talk more about art with intention.
Well, it's just kind of funny. I feel like it's like the opposite of photography sometimes. Like when you're like drawing, or when you're at least when I was like in figure drawing class, we would do things where it was like, let's just draw for like 30 seconds. Let's draw this pose for 30 seconds, then 1 minute, then like 2 minute pose. And these weren't like supposed to be good masterpieces. They were literally just like, let's practice this pose. And so a lot of times, like, it's not always like you have to spend so much time on one thing. It
Hmm.
can
It's more
just
about the
be,
volume and the doing.
yeah, it's just more about just like that, getting that really good practice. And like, I kind of want to do that again. Like, I want to test myself a little bit with like timing, because I spend so much time. I'm like really slow, I feel like a lot of times. And like, I kind of want to test myself with like putting a timer on, and like having a figure or something, for example, and then drawing them and seeing how fast I can do it and just get like the most important information. Because a lot of times you can get obsessed with like all the details, but like just to get like, hey, I'm gonna do this pose, I'm gonna try to get the pose right, and that's the most important thing, then I'm out of here. And like, I think it's a good like exercise to do. So I think there
Yeah.
is something about like doing things quickly, over and over and over again, you know.
Yeah, like it's something to do with learning and like you said, like learning not to be obsessed with the details and um yeah, I feel like there's just a time and a place for both.
Yeah. Yeah, because I definitely do spend. I am working on a painting that's gonna take me weeks to do, but and I'm trying to be really intentional about it. But then also I'm like, I do at least want to start doing more like sketches more often of this like really quick, but I'm really bad at it. So that's why I kind of want to practice it. But I I'm I'm not excited about that, but I think I should practice
Right. But it's good
that.
that you're like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and I'm excited to see whatever it
We'll
is that you're
see.
working on the next recent creations.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the final result. Yeah, I forgot there was like something else I wanted to say about like the spray and pray versus shooting with intention. And I think it was
Mm.
just, it's kind of like the age old argument, like quantity versus quality. But I feel like there are some times where you get really good quality images from doing spray and pray. And it happens when there are like candid moments happening.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
like you can capture a lot of what's happening in that moment if you're shooting like in continuous high mode. Um, and then you're guaranteed to like get a really good shot where you have like everyone's expressions look like really cool. Um, and then there's times where like doing a very posed setup, um, like still life shot almost is more valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's also room for saying like there's room for both of those, especially when it comes to like wedding photography. There's room for like both of those methods.
Yeah.
Um, I think you can actually interchange them throughout the day. Like, do like pose like still life pictures for like details and family portraits, and then use spray and pray during the reception, so that you get like all the best opportunities, all the best moments. Because I feel like, you know, you might miss out on stuff if you're not paying attention every minute,
Mm-hmm.
um, or you're not ready to go like with your finger on the shutter. Um,
It's a good point.
so yeah, that's just my 2 cents, I guess, in regards to wedding photography. But
That's
I
fair.
think that was the last thing I wanted to say about that. I guess I can talk more about what this was like today, going to get this spontaneously, and I'm going to share a little bit of the knowledge that the nice shop owners took the time to demo for me. In
That's
case there's anybody
nice.
listening who is really interested in maybe learning film and wants to learn along with me. Um, so like I said, I got this flash. It's like a toy. It feels like a toy. And it's this stuff is so different from what I am used to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot less capability, but there's so much. The possibilities are still endless. Um, and it's funny because they have all these little tools on the camera and the equipment themselves to
Yeah.
help you, like little like tips or reminders almost. So for example, this is manual focus camera, right? Um, and on the dial that you turn to focus, it actually tells you what like there's a little red arrow that you have to line up to numbers, and the numbers are how many feet you are away from your subject. So
Ooh.
if you had bad eyesight, you still could get the picture in focus because you could say, I'm 3 feet away from my subject. Let me just turn it right to 3. So you don't even need to have like perfect eyesight through the viewfinder because the viewfinder is like pretty tiny. Um, you can literally just go by that. Um, obviously, it's not totally precise because you're not going to be getting measuring tape and seeing
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
how far you are. But it says it right next to it. It says feet meters, and then it like tells you. It's just like so funny. Like I just never would have guessed like this is how people did things. Um, and like it's just like going back in time. It's really cool. And I'm totally nerding out. But the same thing with the back of the flash. So he showed me how to use this flash because I'm used to flashes that you can adjust the power and the speed and like, you know, like just adjust like, you know, like I want it to only fire for a 64th of a second, or I want it to fire
Mm-hmm.
for the whole second, and that like affects how bright your image is. This flash only has one power setting. Um, so the way that they get around this is there's a chart on the back of it,
Okay.
and you basically you adjust your aperture based on how many feet away you are from your subject.
Oh.
So if you're really close to your subject, then the flash is obviously going to make them really bright.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
so it tells you what aperture to set it to let less light in. Um,
Mm.
so you basically just use this fun little chart, um,
That's
which
so
is great for
funny.
me because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I don't have this is not high tech. So it's very imprecise. So yeah, you just go, okay, I'm about 5 feet away, and I'm using 100 film, 100 roll film. So that means that I should be at aperture 16. Um, it, it's just so funny, and I can't wait to like test this out more. And they showed me basically how to put the film in the camera. And that is all I know. So I'm going to be watching a lot of YouTube this week, folks. I'm going to watch so much YouTube because I have no idea what to do when the roll is finished. Um, I don't know how to store it. I don't. It's gonna be a trip trying to change it on my own. I'm sure it's not as bad as I'm making it sound, but um, it's just it's gonna be an adventure, and I'm excited.
That's awesome. Well, do you have to still like worry about like making sure that when you take your film out that you're not like in a bright area, or does that not matter? Because like, do they do all of that? Like,
So they didn't tell me that in the store, and they didn't seem to care. Like when they were putting it in, it was just like in under like the fluorescent lighting, um, in the shop.
okay,
Um, so to answer your question, I don't know. I am I was literally thinking that today on my walk because I knew that was a thing. I think I only knew it was a thing because you told me.
yeah, to go
And
into a room.
I was like, "Oh, so when this is finished, like I was like, I wonder if I need to like take it out in a dark room." I all I know is that like I'm gonna drop these rolls off to be scanned. And I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that process is like. I just know where I need to go to get it done. And yeah, we'll see.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see the results.
So that wraps up nicely. Moving into our next section, we have a couple of inspirations, artist spotlights, and then we will finish off with our childhood memory. Do you have anything you want to share, Beth?
Just that during this trip, so during the traveling, right? We're talking about all about being inspired. Well, speaking of that, during that trip, when we were staying in Sean's family's house, they have a piano, and I, you know, was inspired because it's not often that I see Sean in front of like an actual, like, well, it's not like a grand piano, but a piano nonetheless, playing because we have a keyboard at home, so we just use that. But it just looked really dramatic at the time. So I walk into the room and he's like playing it, and so then I'm like, I'm going to draw this from life. So then I like challenged myself to not take a picture. Spoiler alert, I did eventually take a picture, but that was because I needed to look back at it when I was going to finish the paintings. But I started it off with like doing a sketch, and it's interesting. Like, I kind of want to start doing that more often, where I just like draw things from life just for
That's
practice.
awesome. Yeah, I
Because
feel
it's
like
really
that's really hard to
fun.
do.
It is hard.
Because like obviously they're moving a little, like
Yeah,
it's not, you know.
yeah. You
And
mostly,
then
yeah.
you sent me the very early stages picture of
Hmm.
the initial sketch.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So it does like kind of change, right? So you kind of have to just get like a gesture of what the pose is, um, and then just kind of go from there. And so I had to like use some of my like knowledge of like figure drawing, to kind of figure out like the proportions and stuff, because I don't have like the image to like to do it. I have to like look at it. Normally when I draw something, I just base off like I grid it out, and like I plan it out more. Because when you have a photo, you can like grid it so that there is uh an easier way to like paint it, because then you have it all planned out. Gridding basically just means that you have like boxes on the screen on your reference, and then boxes like a literal grid, and boxes or grids on your painting. And so you're matching each box with the paintings box and then your box. Sorry, and the references box. So you
It
can
kind of reminds me
easily,
of it kind of reminds me of a blueprint.
yeah, kind of. I could see that because it's just kind of, it's basically just to help you figure out where things go on your painting. Because without it, it's hard. But anyway, I still think that's the best way to draw a figure if you want to be really exact. Like if you want the exact, like if you really want to recreate it, then yeah, you would probably have to create it. But because I'm just kind of doing it, like it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Like I'm not doing his face. It's like from the back. So it's not like if it's the back, it's not the exact that it was in real life. It'll still look like it. It doesn't have to be like exactly exact. You know what I mean? It just try to be like the vibe. Anyway, so I'm trying to just kind of let go of like
You want to
having it.
capture the emotion
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
moment.
Exactly. Long story short, I'm trying not to like just focus on it has to be exactly like it was in the picture, but kind of more just like I'm gonna go off of like the vibe, the feeling of the of him playing the piano. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's what it
I
is.
am excited for how this one is going to come out. I already like how the ambient light looks in the
I did add that. I did make it more
yeah.
dramatic. I
Mm.
obviously I love that stuff. The light did kind of look like that in the real life, but I basically in the picture I'm gonna make it so the light source is even more dramatic.
Dramatic.
Yeah. So anyway, I think people should do that more often, just for fun. You know, just challenge yourself. It's kind of scary. Okay, it's scary, but it's fun.
That's awesome. So for artist inspiration, I saw this image on social media recently. It's by Laura Zambelli, a photographer and AI artist, and I'm just reacting to it. Um, I love the moodiness of it. I love the colors. I love the red. It's it just feels so dramatic. But I almost wonder like when she took these images, I wonder if she took a bunch of them at once. Like I wonder if she used the spray and pray kind of because it looks like it was just on autofocus from what I can tell. I like it. I mean, I like that there's different parts of her face in focus in different images.
Hmm.
Um, but there was one image where I felt like it would have been really cool if her eye was in focus. Um, instead of like I think it was like her mouth or something. Um,
Oh.
I still really love it, but I just wonder what it would look like if her eye was in focus and then like the rest of her face wasn't. I absolutely love like the red lipstick and it's like matching the red flower. So I have no idea. Maybe this was on purpose. Maybe she wanted just the lips in focus so that it would draw attention to how it like matched the flower. Um, but I just think it's a
Interesting.
really cool image and I would love to know more about the production behind it.
That's
If anybody
cool.
knows or if anybody has any inkling, feel free to leave it in the comments. Feel free to share what you think about it. Feel free to share what you think about any of the images or any of the artwork that we shared on the podcast today.
Can
Happy to
you
answer any questions. What were we
um
gonna say?
can you describe the images for those that aren't watching?
Oh yes. So the image is a picture of a woman against a dark backdrop. She is holding a red flower up to her face.
Hmm.
She's very fair skinned and she's wearing bright red lipstick. It's just really like the lighting is really dramatic. I just really love the colors of the black and the red. Um, she has freckles and like I said in the photographs, her it's just her the lower half of her face that's in focus.
Interesting. Yeah. So you said it's an AI artist. So is it like what part of it is AI? Does she just edit it with AI? Or is it like,
So she actually doesn't say. On her caption, there is no description whatsoever.
hmm,
Um, so I have no idea how much of it is real and how much of it is AI generated. Yeah, I would love to know. I mean, probably if I did more digging, I would maybe be able to find it. If anybody does know, feel free to drop it in the comments, but I wasn't able to find what part is AI.
mm, I wonder if it's like the model is probably a real person, and then maybe they edited the flower to be turned in a certain way.
Or they might have done a lot of the retouching with AI. Maybe they
Mm.
altered her appearance a little bit. Maybe they added the freckles. You never know. AI is so getting so precise, it's very difficult to tell what is AI generated. Yeah, all it says on her bio is just that she's a photographer and AI artist. So I had no idea.
I'm feeling it's probably the artist, or I'm sorry, artist. I'm thinking the human looks like an actual human because usually I feel like AI at this point, they've been making people look mostly the same. And I feel like this person has like unique features that it kind of
Yeah, that
looks
is
too
true.
unique to be AI.
Yeah, and also like her lipstick is looks real. Like it
Yeah, the
looks like
lipstick, I was
realistically
looking at that.
applied.
Yeah, the lipstick tells me that I
Um
think it's real.
I wouldn't be surprised if only part of it is AI. Um
Yeah.
yeah. I bet she takes the pictures with real models and then she probably does a lot in post to make them so dramatic.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. Because that human just looks keep saying the human. The
Human.
that human over there, she looks
Yeah.
it's not a robot. Okay. It's a human. But yeah, thank you for showing that with us. It's interesting. I like learning about different ways that we can, yeah, I like thinking about, how that person did that. But yeah, so we want to end our podcast with our nostalgic memory. Obviously, I have to say, I visited you most recently because it brought back nostalgic memories. Because we only got to see each other for part of the day. I was in um, Rhode Island just got back from Newport and I was in Narragansett. We met up at Narragansett Beach. Um, my dad was there. Then he met us there, but you didn't see my dad. You were there later, but we were just at the beach. We hadn't been to the beach together in so long,
So
especially in
long.
Narragansett. Like we haven't been to Narragansett together in a while. We went to a
And we used to go
beach,
there
yeah,
all of the time.
yeah, all the time. And I was there with Sean, you, me, and we were in the water. We were having a good time. We were doing our wave game underwater, which is what is that, Allie?
So when we were little, we got it in our heads somehow that we could make the waves bigger. We really wanted big waves because we wanted to boogie board. So we had this idea that if we stomped while we were in the water, stomped on the ground as hard as we could,
Mm-hmm.
that it would somehow it had something to do with the moon. Our theory had something to do with the moon. That if we stomped in the water hard enough,
Mm-hmm.
it would influence the moon's pull on the water somehow so that we could make the waves bigger and we could make waves come. So we would be standing there in the water, stomping our feet on the sand. And, we would get proof that it worked because after a lull, the waves would come back.
And
And
we
we would
knew
be
it
like,
all
see?
along. We did it. We did it, Allie. So,
We
the
got to explain that to Sean.
yeah, that was fun. Jury's still out to see if it actually worked, but
I still think it worked.
the waves did come. So you decide. Um but then of course afterwards he went to a restaurant that he went to a couple times, had some oysters.
Yeah, we've been
Um
there with our families before when we were younger, so it was cool to go back. But It's Captain Jack's
Captain Jack's, and
near East Mattock State
yeah,
Beach.
and had some clam strips, and really, I I
I had a
really
mudslide. Didn't the waiter? No, it wasn't the waiter. It was one of my friends. When I got back, I told them I ordered a mudslide, and he was like, "I haven't seen someone order a mudslide in like a really long time."
what is it, Allie? What kind of drink is that?
It's basically like a milkshake, but with alcohol.
It Yeah, I tasted it and it was mostly just milkshake. Like they
It
really
was so good.
it tasted really good. Like it covers up most of the
Yours was really good
alcohol.
too.
Yeah, mine was good too. I kind of forgot what it was. What was it again? Pina colada, right?
It was like I don't think it was a pina colada, but it was so close to a pina colada.
It was something really similar. I don't know why I'm not remembering what it was called.
It
Um,
definitely had like pineapple and coconut, but I don't think it
yeah,
was technically a pina colada, but it was still a frozen drink.
yeah,
So we'll
yeah.
call it a pina colada. Um,
Yeah, it was something
yeah,
like that.
everything was so good. It was just so nice.
Yeah,
Um,
it was nice seeing Allie, and
and then
brings me back.
when I saw you, when I first saw you, and then Sean came and he was like, "Look, it's their creative cousins."
Oh yeah, we were finally together, right? And then
Yeah. Finally together in person as the creative cousins. Because the last time we were together in person, we weren't the creative cousins yet.
that's a good point. We just now became creative. We weren't always cousins. Sorry, we were
Wait, we were both of those things. We were creative and we were cousins, but we weren't known as the creative cousins.
yeah, we walked down the street. Oh my god. It's the
People
creative
knew us.
cousins.
No, I'm just kidding. No one knew us. No one knew us.
Can you imagine?
Um,
Sorry, we were always cousins. But we didn't acknowledge us being creative cousins.
on that note, thank you so much for following along on our creative cousins journey. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you, and we hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.